quiet. It's July 4th. We're going to do an irrigation video because today has been pretty much nothing but irrigation. I'm actually here alone. John does come out and John's going to help me, but I want to do one thing in this video. I want to see how many likes I can get on this video today. It only takes about 10 seconds. Push that like button. I've never asked that before. I really don't usually care, but I was like, let's see if we can get 1,000 likes on the video. Just push that like button if you like it. If you don't like it, push dislike. I don't care either way. I'm too old. Here we go. Happy 4th of July. What are you doing, Doc? I'm trying to make 2 videos today. I'm actually here all alone at the property. John's gonna come out. We're gonna cut some grass. He wanted to come out and work, so I told Rachel to take the day off. But irrigation problems. So I've had some irrigation problems for the past couple weeks. I had a controller actually go bad on me, which I've never seen before. I use Rachio, and I think the circuit board, some kind of, maybe could have even been lightning, I guess. I don't know, some kind of short. So I had to buy it and replace that. Then, so you understand my irrigation system is different. See right there next to the house, that little brown thing? That's a shallow well that has served this house. We no longer use it, but served this house for, gosh, the past 25, 30 years before we remodeled it and dug a deep well. Well, we use that just for irrigation now. So if you don't, it doesn't have a big pressure tank on it. So if you don't keep the flow going, the pump has a tendency to cycle a lot. It goes on and off and on. So initially we ran all 6 of these heads all at the same time to prevent the cycling. But I've got to be honest, it looked like a little boy was out here peeing. It was just stupid looking. And it just wasn't doing a good job. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 stations here, and I had the same thing on the back, all running at once. I'm going to break them apart into 2 stations. I've got 2 valves. Well, the first problem is I had to replace that controller, which I did. The next problem is that somewhere in this connection from the valve station over to the controller, I have a controller down here, somewhere those wires got tied in together on the valves. And so no matter what you do, both stations run all at once. So I even called my irrigation guy. He actually was here. He was here in like 5 minutes. That's unusual for irrigation this time of year. He came over and he said, man, he said, I have no idea. He said, why would we have connected those 2 not here or at the box? He said, I just don't know. He said, I can't remember what we did. So we ended up, John and Jeff, I ended up buying some 18, I only needed 18.3, but bought some 18.5 irrigation wire. And we actually took some spade shovels and cut it about 6 inches deep over in there down. And we just rewired it. So now when I run my irrigation system, I'm gonna get my phone and I'm gonna show you, man, it looks so nice. But I use Hunter i20 heads. I'll put a link in the description if you want to get some. Now they make, I think they make a regular size, which is like a 4-inch head, and then they make a big like 6-inch, whatever you want. But the nice thing about the Hunter heads is they come with a whole bunch of different little nozzles on them. So those nozzles are interchangeable, so I can change the gallons per minute on each one of these heads. And so what I did was, on my center head, which is going to cover this whole area, a big part of it, I'm running it at a 6, which is pretty high. The side ones over here were at 3, I bumped them up to 4. So the middle one's a 6, and I got a 4 and a 4. And I did the same thing down here. Man, let me tell you what. Let me grab my phone. I need to water this dew off there anyways, because he's going to come cut it. John just texted me. So I'm going to run my Rachio system. I'm going to do a quick run. Man, look at that power. That is just awesome. So now this main head is almost reaching the other heads down there, which is kind of what you want. When you run an irrigation system, you pretty much want to run head-to-head coverage or close to that. The other thing is if you have an area that gets more dry than another area, let's say, because out back I have a corner over here that gets sun all day. Well, the rest of that only gets sun for about 6 hours. So you can actually take a number 6 and get a heavier soak on that one corner versus the other heads that you might set at a 3 or a 4. And that's the nice thing about them. These are stainless steel heads. You're gonna see a lot of dirt on top of it, but that is a stainless steel head. And I pretty much have these everywhere, even down at the beach house and on here. Now, on the pop-up heads, I will give you a piece of advice. On your pop-up heads, once a year, I have to unscrew that top. You gotta hold that top, you gotta unscrew it, and there's a screen inside of there. There's a little screen inside of that, and every year down at the beach house, I have to clean that every year. So what I do is I buy some of those extra screens, because it's a pain in the butt, because you got to hold up that little pop-up head and you got to unscrew it, and then you got to get the screen out, and then how do you keep that up? So just get some extra ones and just rotate them. But there's a little screen. Let me tell you what, down at the beach house, I mean, it's just like, it was like spraying weird. You put a new screen in there, it blasts. So if you have those little pop-up heads that sort of fan spray, just unscrew the top and pop a screen in there, a new screen. I mean, it's amazing what it'll do. Okay, but let's talk about my favorite irrigation head, which is the Hunter i20. Where is my Hunter tool? Okay, Hunter i20 stainless steel head. Now, this is, I believe, the 6-inch, and then they also make a tall version, which I installed one of these down at the beach house where I wanted it to come way up over a bush. So these are actually nice too. These are let's see here, these are the 6-inch and these are the 4-inch heads. So you have a 6 and a 4. Majority of you will use a 4-inch head. You can replace any standard rotary head with these. Just unscrew it, dig a little hole, unscrew it. There's going to be a little thread down there. This is a 3/4 inch thread. You're going to have an elbow that sticks up, and you just thread this back on. I did a whole video about the left to right and adjustments, but oh, they are stainless steel, and they are my favorite head. Now, you'll notice when you order these, where's the arrow? Because the arrow always points to where the head is. There's nothing in there. See that black hole? There's nothing in there. So what you have to do is it'll come with these little nozzles, and you just take off a nozzle. You stick a nozzle in that head, and then, you know, the little screw that you screw down to make it go the hold down screw, you screw that down and that holds in your head. The majority of people, I would say, start off, maybe start off with, let me take my sunglasses off so I can see. I would say start off with maybe a 3 for most irrigation systems, and that's 3 gallons per minute, the way that works. So start off with a 3. I have actually bumped up mine because I want a lot of water to come out of my irrigation system. I'm using a shallow well over here, and the shallow well keeps cycling, so we don't want it to do that. I just have a little pressure tank over there, so we want as much water going out as possible. But plus, if you want to reach head to head, which is technically what you want on an irrigation system, so this head kind of needs to reach almost this head. This head needs, it's sort of a head-to-head coverage. So what I did was, on my main heads, I bumped them up to a 6, and then on my corner ones and out of the pond, I bumped them up to a 4. So you can just choose which one you want and save these in case you ever need to go up or down on them. And then again, all you do, there is a tool that you stick on there that holds this open. I actually just use a clamp. Okay. Don't move. I take one of these little clamps that has rubber feet on it so it won't damage my head. And while my irrigation system is running, I clamp it on the bottom, and then I shut off my irrigation system. Now I can go in and I can take one of these nozzles. Let me use one that I'll probably never use. Oh, it scared the shit out of me. You just take one of these little nozzles, stick it in that hole, pop, sort of tap it in, maybe with a little screwdriver or something, and then you go in here and you tighten down that little set screw, that screw that goes in front of the actual thing there. and it holds it in place. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. My Rachio controller blew up in my shed. I don't know whether it was lightning or what it was, but it short-circuited. The board actually had a little burn on it, so I had to replace that. I'm dividing off valve stations. These were all running at once, and I don't want that. I want only half to run at a time, so I want more power. Same thing on the pond, and we ran into a problem. So anyways, my irrigation woes, I thought I was going crazy, but my irrigation guy actually dropped by here yesterday, and he said, I have no clue, dude. So first, let's make sure there's no snake in here. So I have 2 valve stations, okay? And everything is hooked up correctly to run separately. You got a common wire and a blue, common wire and a red, or excuse me, the power line, red and blue, and then the common wires are jointly connected. I can manually turn these on, and one will run. We go down there, and there's no splice connection. So somewhere in here, we have no idea, somewhere in here, those 2 wires are connected, because it doesn't matter if I run station 1 or run station 2, all 6 heads come on. And what I want to see, hey Jeff, I'm gonna turn one of these on, make sure it doesn't spray you. And so what I want to see is I want to see this. But if I do it down here, all 6 heads come on. But this looks great. These heads look fantastic. I mean, they're shooting all the way down, good coverage. And I want to be able to run this zone and that zone. But the way it was hooked up to stop the well, the shallow well, from cycling so much, we were running them all, and they look like crap. I needed an 18.3 cable. They didn't have an 18.3, so I got an 18.5 cable. And now we're having to hand trench. Past here is okay, but there's an old tree in here, so now I got to figure this out because I don't have a trencher. All right, so we were out here digging with a spade, 2 spades. We were digging and we kept hitting roots, and I grabbed one of my chainsaws that had an old blade on it and I literally came through after they had done that, and I literally came through with my chainsaw and ran it 6 to 8 inches down all the way through here. So then we took a hammer, we held the wire in, and we hammered it down in under here. That's to make sure it's actually in there. So now I got to take apart this. I'll dig this in a little bit later. But I got to feed this through somehow and get this into here and make sure it works. All right, so great, now I see a fire in it. So white is your common wire. That goes right here. Lift that tab up, put that in there, make sure it's in firm. And then you gotta get zone 1 and zone 2. For me, it really doesn't matter. In there firm, we're gonna get the power hook back up. And we'll let it connect to the Wi-Fi. Rachio. All right, quick run. See, it only shows me 1 zone. And show disabled zones. So let's go to 2. And that one next. We're gonna run each of them for 1 minute. Done. Done. Run. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, thank goodness. That was a lot of work for not being able to find that. But see, now these heads are just blasting like crazy. This head is reaching almost all the way down to that side, which is technically, you're almost supposed to reach head to head, technically. We're gonna cut this with the Ego, get all these little weeds. I got a little bit of nut sedge. I got seed heads out here. So he's gonna cut it with the Ego first. And then we'll come back out with the reel mower and cut it. But man, it looks gorgeous right now. So thick. It is so thick. So I think I changed my mind again. This looks so good. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to risk messing it up, cutting it again. Dude, That is amazing. I mean, compared to a week ago, I mean, it's like super thick. I was trying to dig down to one of these sprinkler heads, and dude, that Bermuda is growing so aggressively in here right now. Now this is common Bermuda, and I put down Dirt Booster Plus, and then I sprayed it with Lawn Alive, and let me tell you what, man, it has just popped. I mean, it just came off. I haven't fertilized this in like well over a month, but man, let me tell you what, I don't get surprised that often, but I gotta tell you, being that this was just woods over here, look at that. That just looks awesome. And that's common Bermuda, which is ugly crap. I got a couple pieces of goose grass. You'll see some spots. And the way that I treat this goose grass is I literally come out here with a glyphosate and I put a little bit of blue dye, and all I do is I just hit right in the center of it. That's all I do. Now it's brown around it because I was pulling it out, but just come up and just go right at the center and just put a few, if you want to do it by hand, you just put a few drops right on that center of that plant. I mean, there's really nothing else you can do with goose grass, and at this time of year it's so hard to kill it. Just come out with some glyphosate and just put it right in the center of that plant. Not a whole bunch, just a few drops, just a little spray, and that's it. But man, let me tell you what, holy cow, that looks awesome. And walking on this, I'm telling you, if you ever, most of you probably don't remember shag carpet from like the 70s and 80s. That's exactly, it's spongy. It feels like shag carpet. Dude, it's crazy. It is just crazy to walk on this stuff. All right, so one of the benefits of having field irrigation, that's a 2-inch high pressure pump that's pulling water from our spring-fed pond. And that 2-inch pipe runs 600 feet up to our fields. And I gotta figure out which irrigation head is running. But anyways, I got a 3/4 inch garden hose with no connectors, straight 3/4 inch. And now I'm running, this is a, what, a 1250K? That's a 1000F from bigsprinkler.com. And you won't get this kind of action from a normal watering system. This is like 90 psi and 85 gallons a minute, but I mean, man, it'll cover this whole area. So when we do our seeding project over there, I'm going to run that hose. I'm going to get 2 smaller irrigation heads and irrigate that area over there. But let me go see what's being watered up here, so I can do this at the same time I'm watering the fields or the gardens, which is nice. But it really is a thing of beauty. So that 600-foot pipe runs up to here to a switching station, and I have all these valves that I can change and adjust. I can actually take water over to the garden if I needed to water over there. But this will hit this whole cornfield over here. Sometimes I get a rainbow. Let's see if I get a rainbow today. Man, a nice and peaceful July 4th. All right. So I moved the sprinkler down there. I refilled the gas pump. I put an hour and 20 minutes of water on this field, which is over 1/2 inch, probably close to 3/4 of an inch. I came up here and all I gotta do is disconnect one hose, throw a switch, and now, isn't that a thing of beauty? I've got 2 heads on here running off that one pump, and I'm watering down by the house on it too. But look at the reach on that. Okay guys, so that is my Independence Day. We cut this, we're getting ready to do a seeding project over here. This was woods, and it's such tough rocks and roots and everything. We're gonna do a Yukon and centipede mix over here, but I have to use that irrigation system because I don't have irrigation. So if you're gonna do a seeding project, wait for Mother Nature to rain, and then you're gonna have to bring, because you gotta water seed every day. But I gotta tell you, man, that just looks fantastic. Look at that. The flower gardens, look at these flower gardens. Rachel's done a fabulous job at this. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that gorgeous? And it's on the other side as well too. But man, this used to be a junk pile. And man, it just turned out so nice. We don't have irrigation over there, but still we're seeding in common Bermuda way over in that field. This is common Bermuda with it. But man, that dirt booster and Lawn Alive, man, it just made this stuff just turn green and thicken up. But look at this side. Even this side of the flower bed is nice. So down under here is a little bit of a problem. I'm still probably going to have to do some common Bermuda, but I don't have irrigation out there. You can see where the irrigation stops. But man, overall, when you're sitting in there and you're looking out, man, you got a great view. My blue heron is down there fishing. So anyways, guys, hope you had a good 4th of July. It is now, what time is it? Come on, watch. My watch doesn't want to work. It is now 3 o'clock. I'm getting ready to go inside, turn on the air conditioning. I'm gonna sit my butt down, turn on YouTube and watch some videos. Talk to you later. Doc.